Now, sorry? In your conversation, after your conversation with Mr Dreyfus, did you at any opportunity share the fact that you had had a conversation with Mr Dreyfus, with the Attorney-General, or any of his agents or people in his office or people from the government?
No.
Did not. Is there a reason for you not doing that? You just didn't feel motivated to do it?
I think there's probably two things, Senator, which are important to point out here. The first is I had no duty, as I saw it, to share that information.
I accept that.
The second, and I think it's important to point out, and I've tried to make clear today, I'm trying not to inflame certain tensions, but it is necessary to put this in answer to your question, please. After I wrote the Attorney-General the letter of the 11th of May, which I couched in the most neutral terms I can, I would have expected that in a cooperative relationship between law officers, there would have been a response. After I wrote the letter of the 24th of May to the Secretary, which he told me was passed on to the Attorney-General, a detailed letter, I would have expected between cooperative law officers there would be a substantive response. What I heard back from the Attorney-General was he would not consider any of these matters until after the election. The effect of that was that my request, which was for the immediate withdrawal of this instrument, was not only rejected by the Attorney-General, but the Attorney-General was not prepared to have any discussion with me about this matter. After the election, I wrote to the Attorney-General a further letter on the 16th of July. I repeated my request, now that the caretaker period was over, there was a government, to withdraw the instrument, and I set out my reasons. No response. Now, without inflaming tensions, the fact is, and I say this in answer to your question, not because I want to put something in the public domain, the Attorney-General has refused to engage with me on this topic, despite knowing the detail of my concerns.
Mr Gleeson, one final question, and then Chair, I'll put all of my remaining questions on notice to Mr Gleeson. One final question. You have quite properly pointed out today that you do whatever's in your power to avoid being involved politically, to playing the politics. But Mr Gleeson, you must have known when you set the telephone back into the receiver after talking to Mr Dreyfus, that in the words of Bill Heffernan, you were just about to create a political shitstorm of a size that would suck you in.
The question is out of order.
And why wouldn't you advise the attorney, your first law officer, why wouldn't you advise him that was coming?
Stupid, Madam Chair.
That's also pretty out of order.
Okay. Senator Watt, would you like...
Well, can we have an answer to that, Madam Chair?
the question's not in order as far as I can tell.
Why isn't it in order? Can you explain that?
It's, one, it includes unparliamentary language, and two, you are
a political hurricane.
creating
I know why you don't want an answer,
hypotheticals.
Chair, but let me replace it with political hurricane. Did you not sense that would create a political hurricane? That you would arm the opposition of the day with what they think is a catch-all?
I hardly think that's Mr Gleeson's fault.
Well, he's indicated he'll answer, Chair.
I'll answer your question if I'm allowed to answer it.
Of course.
I thought the right thing to do was to answer honestly that question. I didn't think that was playing into a political matter. I was concerned that the whole of the members of the 44th Parliament, including those at this table, happily packed their bags on the evening of the 6th of May thinking the business was finished, and there was an inaccurate statement on the records of that Parliament, which none of you who were in that Parliament had any means of knowing about or dealing with. Had you, Senator O'Sullivan, if you'd been following what was in the media, it was in the media by then, if you'd rung me up and said, I'm a member of the Parliament, I've received that statement, Justin, Was that an accurate statement that you were consulted? I believe I would have given you the same answer.
I do, but
Thank you,
the
Mr.
burden of my...
Gleeson.
No,
Senator
the
Watt
question
has
hasn't been
the call.
answered.
And then I'll come...
Why
Senator
didn't
Watt-
you tell the attorney?
Senator Watt has
Why
the
didn't
call.
you tell the attorney of your conversation
Senator
with Dreyfus?
Watt,
Thank you.
You
Thank
have
you,
the
Chair.
call.
Thank you, Chair.
No, the question remains unanswered.
You're welcome to put your questions on notice. Senator Watt.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Gleeson, this is my final